let's bring in Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Maduabuchi, joining me now on Newsnight. Thank you so much for...
Because you know it's always a pleasure.
Absolutely, always a pleasure having you. Now, first off, let's get your legal perspective, to this issue, considering the fact that the Supreme Court has clearly, given judgment and said any issues of the political party is within the, purview of the political party to resolve its issues. And still, we have this situation.
No. Let me put it in proper perspective.
Yes, please.
There is something we call the principle of ultra vires in law that is beyond the powers. It does not exist in voluntary associations. There is nothing...
Like political parties.
Yes, but like political parties. What the Supreme Court said is, once an association has taken a decision, why are you bringing it to court?
In the first place.
It's not our business. We don't run political parties. It does not mean that if there is an infraction, that the Supreme Court, the court cannot listen to it. But you cannot come to court to challenge the decision of a political party for whatever reason. If the political party says, this man, the constitution says, you cannot rule more than 8 years, and they come to a national convention and say, this man has been ruling us well.
We want him to continue.
We want him to continue. No, the Supreme Court cannot say no. No court can say no. Because it is within their exclusive presence to say, we want to do it this way. That is what the Supreme Court has said.
So based on what you've said now,
yes,
and you hear the NWC of the Labour Party, and is led by Julius Abure,
yes,
saying they have taken a decision.
Yes.
Abure remains, or is reaffirmed,
yes,
the national chairman of the party.
Yes.
In the light of what you've said.
Yes. Now, if that is the proper NWC, it remains the position of the party.
That's another matter, because who decides the proper NWC?
Now, let's take it a step further.
Right.
If we take the antecedents of Labour Party, what was Labour Party before we became in? It was just another name. It was not, you couldn't properly call it a political party. What gave it verve was the entry of Peter Obi. Now, they have one governor,
Alex Otti of
Abure State. They have senators, even though all the ones in Enugu State have left. If you call a meeting of Labour Party and Otti is not there, Peter Obi is not there, all the senators and House of Reps and our assembly members are not there, is that a meeting of Labour Party? It cannot be because these are the pivots of the party.
Their argument is that the party constitution does not envisage the place of a caretaker committee.
That's what we mean by ultra vires. There's nothing they do which you can say is beyond them. It is not for the party, it's not for a court to begin to tell the party how to run its affairs. It is when you begin to do that the court will tell you, my friend, it's not our business. It's not our business. If they say we now want to do what the caretaker committee,
right?
What's the business? When APC did it, what happened? It produced the president, produced governors. When Malabuni became chairman, national chairman, being governor, and that is where the constitution of Nigeria said you cannot hold a political office, two offices at the same time.
At the same time.
And yet that committee led by Malabuni produced president, produced everybody that we have today.
So the question is not the black and white when it's written on paper,
yes,
but the practitioners.
Yes, how do you practice?
How do you translate what is written on paper into actuality?
Exactly.
That seems to be where the challenge is.
Yes. Now it's democracy. Peter Obi and his group and Oti and others, if they call a meeting, and give INEC notice.
Right.
We want to hold our convention on such and such a day. Because by our constitution, Abure's tenure has ended.
Now that you mentioned that, let me bring this in very quickly. I mean, when the Supreme Court says, well, based on what we're hearing, we've not seen the certified true copy yet. It's still, it's yet to come out. But we're told that the Supreme Court actually said in its judgment that, by the way, Abure's tenure has already expired.
Yes.
Now, when the Supreme Court says that,
that's the end of Abure now. And that goes to confirm what
is that not contradictory?
No, it's not.
If the Supreme Court itself says,
it's not.
By the way, Abure's tenure has ended.
It has ended by their constitution. He was elected pursuant to a process. It is that process they will look at and say, my friend, your tenure has ended. Now, why are you still disturbing people? But if the party, even though his tenure has ended, calls a convention of that party, and they say continue, no court can tell him not to continue. But until that is done, the one you climbed upon, the podium upon which you became national chairman, gave you restricted tenure of 8 years. It has lapsed. Unless it is appropriately extended or that constitutional requirement is amended.
Even though their argument, the Abure faction, their own argument is Abure only completed the tenure of the previous chairman who unfortunately...
That is when we go back to their constitution.
Yes.
To say, what does it say in a situation like that?
Because according to them, Abure's tenure actually, starts 2024.
If that is if that's what their constitution says, it is not for a court to say it is not true.
Right.
But for the Supreme Court,
what is the way out now? Because it's looking like, look, it's not a legal or judicial solution to this party.
That is what the Supreme Court told us.
Yes.
It is not for a court. Because whatever you say, you won't go and run the party now. Okay, I did Ume and Oku and Ume about 10, 15 years ago. The Supreme Court, as I then said, this is not our business. What's our business between?
But is this enough to stop political parties from going to the courts, from testing?
No,
testing the resolve of the courts.
It is not for.
How do you put an end to this, and you continue to, just go round and round in a circle?
It is INEC.
INEC.
Yes.
How?
INEC monitors and supervises political parties. Every constitution of a political party is deposited with INEC. If you want to have a convention, you give INEC at least 21 days.
The Abure team, they claim that INEC is aware.
No, and so if INEC now if Abure has the backing of INEC, the court cannot tell INEC not to back him. It is not the business of the court. That is exactly what the Supreme Court is telling us. People should go and do your politics.
So is this telling of, whether it's the Labour Party or any other political party for that matter, is it telling of the lack of internal, conflict resolution mechanisms within the parties themselves?
Yes.
That they have to resort to?
That is exactly what, you just hit on the hit the nail on the head. That's what the Supreme Court is saying. You guys should know how you solve your problems. Don't bring your problems here. Somebody is elected for 10 years. After 10 years, he doesn't want to go. People don't want to remove him. Then you come to us to remove him for you. It's not possible. It is you that will remove him. Let him now resist. Remember that the same Supreme Court, like you said, Abure, your tenure has ended. Is that not making a pronouncement on the internal affairs of a political party?
That's my point.
That's why I'm telling you that. It does not mean that courts do not. But ordinarily, they don't get involved. But when you are elected under a process, and that process is working, they don't...
Is the Supreme Court creating some kind of leeway for the party to resolve their issues? Okay, we have to leave it there, I'm told. Maduabuchi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure
for joining us on this.